Today, we're diving deep into the much-awaited final installment of the IPCC's Sixth Assessment Report, or AR6. This comprehensive report, spanning almost 8,000 pages, is the culmination of an 8-year journey by the world's most authoritative body on climate change. So why is this report a big deal? Simply put, it brings to light the scale of the devastating impacts of our rising greenhouse gas emissions. We're talking about the destruction of homes, the loss of livelihoods, and the fragmentation of communities. And yes, the risks are increasingly dangerous, irreversible, and quite frankly, terrifying. Let's kick off with the first major finding. The report confirms that human-induced global warming of 1.1 degrees Celsius has sparked changes in our climate that are unprecedented in recent human history. This might not seem much, but picture this: if your body temperature rose by even a few degrees, you'd be rushing to the hospital. Now imagine Earth having a fever. That's what we're dealing with here. Secondly, the climate impacts on people and ecosystems are far worse and widespread than anticipated. And with each tiny fraction of additional warming, these risks are escalating rapidly. It's like watching a ticking time bomb, isn't it? Now, onto the third finding. Adaptation measures, like building seawalls or adopting drought-resistant crops, can indeed make us more resilient. But here's the catch: more finance is needed to scale these solutions. We're talking about $127 billion per year by 2030 and a staggering $295 billion per year by 2050 for developing countries alone. The fourth key takeaway is quite grim. Some climate impacts are so severe that we just can't adapt to them, leading to irreparable losses and damages. These hard limits are already being felt in several regions, where frequent and severe climate impacts are becoming the new normal. And these are not just numbers. These are real homes, real communities, and real lives at stake. The fifth revelation is that global GHG emissions must peak before 2025 to stay on the pathway aligned to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. But here's the twist: even if all countries fulfilled their climate pledges today, our emissions would only reduce by 7% by 2030, a far cry from the needed 43%. Moving on to the sixth point. The report reiterates that we need to shift away rapidly from burning fossil fuels, the main culprit behind the climate crisis. It's like quitting smoking to improve lung health, but on a global scale. Our seventh finding stresses the urgency for system-wide transformations to secure a net-zero, climate-resilient future. This includes innovations like rethinking our urban planning to minimize travel and boosting shared, public, and non-motorized transport. Eighth on the list is the absolute necessity for carbon removal to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The more we delay, the more carbon we'll have to remove, and the stakes are just too high. Our ninth revelation states that climate finance for mitigation and adaptation must dramatically increase this decade. For instance, to achieve our mitigation goals, climate finance will need to be ramped up between 3 and 6 times by 2030. Lastly, the report warns that climate change, as well as our collective efforts to adapt to and mitigate it, will worsen inequity if we fail to ensure a just transition. So, it's crucial that we reconfigure our social protection programs to reduce communities' vulnerability while promoting justice and equity. There you have it, the top 10 takeaways from the latest IPCC report. This is our wake-up call. The clock is ticking, and every action, every choice, and every dollar spent counts towards the future of our planet. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay informed, and let's continue the fight for a safe, livable future.